Gerbils are a special group of rodents that look similar to each other. The family includes 13 to 15 genera and about 80 species, which are grouped into 2 subfamilies. Within each genus, the differences are very insignificant and, as a rule, manifest themselves in the peculiarities of color, the length of the tail and tassels on it. Therefore, it is not entirely clear how many species of gerbils exist. Among all the representatives of the vast family, the most famous is the clawed gerbil. It is a cute animal with large dark eyes, a white belly and a fluffy tail with a tassel at the end. It is the clawed, Mongolian, gerbil that is most often kept as a pet. You will know about keeping gerbils at home here. The habitat of gerbils covers Africa, southern Asia from the Arabian Peninsula to Hindustan and Sri Lanka, Central and Central Asia. Most of the animals live in extreme environments, deserts and semi-deserts. Some are found among xerophytic savanna forests. The mountains can rise to an altitude of 3,000 meters above sea level. Description: Gerbils are medium-sized animals, body length, depending on the species, ranges from 6 to 7, dwarf gerbil, to 18 to 21 centimeters, Indian gerbil, tail, from 7 to 20 centimeters. Rodents weigh from 10 to 190 grams. The slender hind legs are longer than the front ones. The tail is often longer than the body, well-furred, usually with a tassel of elongated hairs at the end. The eyes are large, set high on the head, which increases the view. The ears are small, even smaller in some species than in mice. The strongly enlarged middle ear is noteworthy. This feature increases the animal's sensitivity to low-frequency sounds, for example, to the rustle of owls' wings. The color of the back is dominated by sandy or brownish tones, the belly is lighter, white or yellowish. The color of the coat in gerbils, even of the same species, but from different habitats, can differ. The animals living on a dark clay substrate are most often dark brown, and on yellow sand they are reddish. Only a dark brush on the tail breaks the masking color somewhat. However, this feature plays an important role. The brush performs a signal function, taking part in communications. Most gerbils live in the harsh conditions of deserts, where during the day the air warms up to 50 degrees centigrade. Therefore, the animals have to lead a nocturnal lifestyle, while in the daytime they hide from the heat in underground burrows, usually plugging the inlet. In the burrow, at a depth of half a meter, the temperature does not exceed 20 to 25 degrees. Only in the northern deserts, some gerbils are active during the day. Gerbils are underground inhabitants. Some species are capable of jumping up to 3.5 meters. Other species run exclusively on 4 legs. Those who live in rocky areas are often good climbers. For the most part, gerbils are diurnal rodents, but some species are nocturnal, crepuscular, or around the clock. Interesting fact: gerbils build burrows with one entrance and a nesting chamber, or complex networks of tunnels with multiple entrances and chambers for nesting, storing food and excrement. Gerbils take dust baths to keep their silky coat in good condition. Some gerbils are solitary, aggressive and territorial, each of which lives in its own burrow. Other species are very sociable and form large colonies, with many individuals inhabiting tunnel networks tens of meters long and 2 or 3 meters deep. Still others live in small family groups, and each family group defends its territory. Some gerbils have a lot of communication while in the nest. Cubs groom each other, chase each other, and play and fight when they are 18 to 35 days old. Gerbils generally inhabit the same area, although juveniles can go through a nomadic period in their lives until they can establish a permanent home range, and some species migrate during drought. They do not hibernate for the winter, but in some areas they experience prolonged spells of numbness in the winter and remain in their burrows, feeding on stored food for several months. What do they eat? Various parts of plants play a major role in the diet of gerbils: leaves, seeds, fruits, roots, and roots. But many species eat any food available: insects, lizards, snails, and even small rodents. In desert conditions, dry seeds and herbs are often the only food. Gerbils that live in the arid regions of South Africa often specialize in insects. Some species prefer a certain type of feed. For example, the day gerbil can be found only where succulents grow with salty juice. The Indian gerbil depends on fresh greenery all year round and settles alongside irrigation systems. Wagner's gerbils are very fond of snails, and at their holes you can often see whole piles of empty shells. At night, when the plants are covered with moisture, the animals collect them and drag them to their burrows to preserve the precious water. The digestive system of these rodents extracts as much liquid as possible from food, while the kidneys excrete only droplets of highly concentrated urine. Gerbils living in cold winter regions store food for the winter. In some species, supplies can reach 20 kilograms or more. Family relationships. Rodents living in deserts are usually solitary, however, their complex burrows are located so close to each other that they resemble colonies. Since food sources are scarce in desert conditions, each animal grazes on its own. Species that live where food is abundant are more sociable. They live in pairs and sometimes form family settlements. Such species as great gerbil, small gerbil, diurnal gerbil, Prolsky's gerbil, downy-tailed gerbil form extensive colonies with a branch system of interconnecting burrows, in which it is easier to keep warm and store food. The breeding season for most gerbils is climatic. For example, savanna inhabitants breed at the end of the rainy season. Animals living in places where food is abundant reproduce year-round, bringing in 2 to 3 droppings during the year. Desert rodents breed in cooler months, however, gerbils from South Africa can breed year-round. Pregnancy lasts 21 to 28 days. The number of pups in a litter in different species varies from 1 to 12, on average 3 to 5 babies are born. They are born helpless, naked, blind and unable to maintain the desired body temperature. For 2 weeks, babies are entirely dependent on the constant care of the mother. If young are born at the beginning of the breeding season, they have time to reach sexual maturity by the end of it and are already taking part in it at the age of 2 months. Born later, they mature at 6 months of age and start breeding the next season. Behavior at home. Most gerbils sleep at night and are active during the day. But not all, so you can get a small animal that will haunt you at night. Check with the seller what time of day the rodents sleep. We did not mention activity for nothing, gerbils do not sit still. They are in motion all the time. You are unlikely to be able to hold it in your arms and stroke it for more than a few seconds, unless, of course, you do not force the pet, which you cannot do. To start a gerbil is those who agree to observe the rodent more and not to squeeze it. However, gerbils have a very friendly disposition. They get used to the owner, his voice. They can be litter trained and played with. Another important point, gerbils in nature live in large colonial families, so they feel much better in the company. The owner cannot replace their relatives with them, even if he devotes a lot of time to caring for the pet and playing. Housing your gerbils at least 2. If you are not going to breed them, have all the females. Animals should be together from childhood. If you later try to add a third animal to an already living pair, in a month for example, they will not accept it. A little about the relationship between gerbils. Sometimes they can fight a little, it's not scary. But if the fight is bloody, then immediately plant the pets. For a short time, for several hours, you cannot separate for a long time, so as not to forget the smell of each other. Now a little about the negative aspects of keeping gerbils. They gnaw all the time. They gnaw on anything they come across, so make sure it isn't your furniture. When gerbils do not gnaw, they dig so dirt is provided, but this is not a problem if you choose the right dwelling. Males also mark their territory. Of course, the smell is not as persistent as from a cat, but consider this. Females can too, but this is less common. You should not worry about this, there are very few smells from gerbils, less than, for example, from hamsters. What you need to buy for your pet. To comfortably maintain and care for your gerbil at home, you will need house, cage, aquarium, terrarium, dune, dishes for feeding and bathing, sports equipment, a few little things needed for proper care. Feeding. We adhere to the point of view that a pet's diet should be close to natural. It is better to buy hay from the store because it is difficult to find clean grass and prepare it correctly. But if you have your own plot and you dry the grass yourself, make sure to keep it away from dampness, do not give rotten hay. Cereals are the basis of nutrition. You can make a mixture of wheat, oats and barley yourself, less wheat, more rest. Sometimes corn is added. Juicy foods are vegetables and fruits. Gerbils are happy to eat carrots, beets, zucchini, cucumbers. From fruits, you can apples, pears. Let's not forget about berries, strawberries and raspberries. What cannot be federal? We boldly enter into this list everything that you eat yourself. Add sweets, citrus fruits, and very sweet fruits to the list. How to teach to hand. The most inappropriate thing about hand training is haste. Be patient and do not pick up the animal at all for the first few days. After 3 to 4 days, try hand feeding. As soon as the gerbil realizes that you are not threatening her, she will calmly begin to eat in your arms. Approach and stand so that no shadow falls on your pet, he instinctively may mistake you for a predator. The next step is to start picking up. Gently bring both palms under the pet, closing them from below in the form of a boat, and then raise. Be careful, gerbils don't sit still, they may try to escape and get injured. Never lift your gerbil by the tail, it can break. As soon as the animal stops being afraid of you, everything will go by itself. He himself will come running to you, climb into the sleeves and legs, on the shoulders, and even on the head. It is a very curious and playful animal. During such games, never shout or scare your pet, it can bite with fright. How many years do domestic gerbils live? On average, gerbils with good care live up to 3 years, less often, up to 4. Unfortunately, even if you follow all the recommendations for care, you will not be able to greatly extend the life of a pet. But you can cut it down a lot if you don't follow the advice. Price and how to buy. Where to buy animals, from breeders or in a store, is everyone's personal choice. We do not agree with the opinion that the stores have poor care and that already sick animals are often slipped in. Choose a trusted store. Fortunately, reviews can be found on the internet without any problems. Good store and good care. At the same time, we met with private breeders who kept pets in terrible conditions and tried to sell old gerbils or the wrong sex. Therefore, it does not matter where to buy, but make preliminary inquiries about the seller. Below are the main points to look out for when buying. If you are going to take pets of different sexes, it is desirable that they come from different parents to reduce the risk of genetic diseases. It is better to take homosexuals from the same litter so that they are already used to each other. Great if you can get a glimpse of the parents. It will immediately be seen whether they are active or sluggish, friendly or aggressive. The offspring are likely to inherit character traits. The best age to buy is 6 to 9 weeks. If there is no experience, it is difficult to determine the age. Bring experienced gerbils with you if you can. If not, rely on trusted sellers. Eyes, ears, nose should be free of discharge and inflammation. The coat should be smooth, clean and not sticky anywhere. Feel free to look under the ponytail. The skin should be free from scratches, wounds, rashes. Listen for breathing. Usually if there is wheezing, you can hear them. A healthy gerbil is active and inquisitive. If the animal is lethargic, does not react to you, then it may be sick. A gerbil usually costs between $5 and $20 per animal. This varies depending on your source of pet. For the lowest cost, you should approach a pet rescue adoption centers.